Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene and Debbie thank you for another successful year and to wish you and yours a year ahead full of health, faith, and compassion. In addition to our pasture mowing, we also offer fence line spraying for weed control and rototilling for your winter gardens. We are family owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm ready. Powell Gene, Gene at yahoo.com. 352-629-2440. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. 352-629-2440. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Finally, shipping made easy. JustShip is your answer to your shipping aggravation. They come pick up your package and ship it for you. Birthday gifts, eBay sales, or an online return. JustShip can handle all of them for you. Act now and you can save 20% on an annual subscription, which will take you through the 2020 holiday months. Go to www.justship.net now and take the aggravation out of shipping.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth. The only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz on a Wednesday morning. A little overcast out there today, but warming up nicely. The National Weather Service has the temperature right now, the official temperature at 10:36 a.m. 64 degrees in Ocala with cloudy skies. Going to warm to 77 degrees today by 3 p.m. Supposed to stay cloudy until about 2, and then the sun breaks back through. Going to be 82 tomorrow, 84 on Friday, 82 on Saturday before we cool back down to the mid-60s. And the mid-30s on Sunday. A guy who, when I was going through college, I saw the movie that depicted him, and I thought, this guy gets that his job is to make sure the welfare of the kids that want to learn are taken care of. I saw a movie called Lean on Me where Morgan Freeman played a principal of Eastside High in Newark, New Jersey. Eastside High in Patterson, New Jersey. He was the guy that walked around with a bat in his hand. They called him Crazy Joe Clark. He was depicted in the movie by Morgan Freeman, Lean on Me, where he in one day expelled 318 students out of the school for vandalism, dope selling, general just not wanting to be not wanting to be part of, the school atmosphere, because he knew that the other students needed the opportunity to learn in an environment that wasn't a danger. Now, did the movie take some liberties? Sure it did. It's Hollywood. But it was based on the life of Joe Clark. He was born in Rochelle, Georgia in 1938. He moved to Newark, New Jersey as a 6-year-old. He graduated from Newark Central High School. He received his bachelor's degree from William Patterson College, a master's degree from Seton Hall, and an honorary doctorate from the U.S. Sports Academy. He was also a reserve sergeant and a drill instructor for the U.S. Army. That explains a lot about the Crazy Joe Clark attitude. He began teaching at Patterson Grade School in Essex County before becoming principal of Public School 6 Grammar School in Patterson. Then he was hired as principal of the crime and drug-ridden Eastside High. He did have unorthodox methods. He walked around the halls with a bullhorn and a baseball bat. Remember, they called me Crazy Joe. Now they call me Batman. He got incarcerated for violating the judge's order and the fire marshal's order by putting chains on the doors of the school. He said it was to keep those bastards out. He retired from East Side in 1989, the year the movie came out. He worked for 6 years as director of Essex County Detention House. That's a juvenile detention center in Newark. He also wrote Laying Down the Law, Joe's Strategy for Saving Our Schools. They detailed his methods of turning around East Side High. After his retirement, this is what I didn't realize. He retired to Gainesville, Florida. Now, don't mind you, Gainesville has its good points, its bad points, but it's landlocked. There's not a whole lot of beach action in Gainesville. Not a whole lot of retiree action. It's a college town, much younger. Maybe that's what drew him there. But in all the places you can retire, I wouldn't think Gainesville would be number one. But Joe Lewis Clark, he retired to Gainesville, Florida. The reason I bring this up is he passed away yesterday after a long battle with an unspecified illness, according to his family. He was 82 years old. He transformed a high school that was a dead-end high school where people just went to either get involved with drugs or gangs or got caught up in the violence. It was never a school of learning. He turned that around. Because even in your worst schools where you have a bad element, he had over 300 students he expelled in one day. Even in schools like that with a bad element to them, there are children there that want to learn. They can't do anything with the drug dealers. They can't do anything with the gang members. They can't do anything with the violent people in the school. So they just sit in the classroom like meek mouse and hope they can learn something. But they really, really want to learn. But you got to get rid of the ne'er-do-wells, the scumbags, the dirtbags, the knuckleheads. You got to get rid of them so you can allow the kids that want to learn to learn. I don't necessarily think I would walk around with a bullhorn and a baseball bat to do that, but it worked for Joe Clark. He had a very hands-on approach, and he had a very, very plausible approach. I remember the one scene in the movie where he takes the one kid up who doesn't know whether he wants to be a gang member or a student. He's caught in between Sams. He takes him up to the roof, and he says, "You're killing yourself, so go ahead and jump off the roof." Sam says, "I don't want to die." He says, "Yeah, you do. You smoke crack." Sam goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, that's killing your brain cells. I say don't mess around with it." That's not what he said. He said another word. "Don't mess around with it. Do it expeditiously. Go ahead and jump." Sam's ultimately didn't want to jump. He wanted to learn. He saved that kid's life. He may have had unorthodox methods, but Joe Clark got results. He's dead at the age of 82. His family reported he died after a long battle with an unspecified illness in Gainesville, Florida. Hi, caller. Who's this?
Yeah. I long for the simpler times when you got sent down to Coach LaPar's after-school detention, and he made you run laps or shoot baskets until your attitude was straight.
You know, when you said you got sent down to Coach LaPar's, I immediately flinched because I remember getting sent to Coach Cagle, and Coach Cagle had that fiberglass paddle that he had holes drilled in so it wouldn't have less wind resistance.
He wasn't a physical guy. He would work you out until your attitude changed. There was one guy that was a tough guy. It was a simpler time. There was one guy that was a tough guy. Actually took a swing at him, and Coach LaPar just blocked the punch. That's all he did, and he broke the guy's wrist.
Yeah, well, there you go. See, Tough guy no more.
Yeah.
You know, some of the methods that Joe Clark used were unorthodox, but they got results. And that's the bottom line in the gym.
Yeah.
When you're trying to educate people, you need results.
Yeah, have a good day, all.
Thanks. So Joe Clark, he transformed how you dealt with dirt bags and scumbags. You know, he got called in front of city council, the school board, over his expelling of 300 people. And he got up, walked out, told them he wasn't going to listen to it. He threw them out. They needed to stay out. And if they didn't like the way he was doing stuff, fire me. But until he was fired, he was going to run his school the way he saw fit. I'm okay with that as an administrator. That's an administrator that wants his children to learn. And if you're not there to learn, get out. And that's what he did. He threw them out. But I didn't realize that he had retired to Gainesville, Florida. If I'd have known that, I've been living in this area 20 years, I'd have tried somehow to get an audience with him so I could have talked to him and picked his brain. But Joe Clark, the man behind that inspired the 1989 film Lean on Me, died at his Florida home on Tuesday. He was 82 years old. Crazy Joe. I love my favorite scene in the movie. One of my favorite scenes in the movie. Robert Guillaume, who's playing the school superintendent, goes into the jail cell where he's laying. He goes, your kids are out here about to riot. You need to come outside and do something. He said, I ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. And he was right. Or the kid Richard that made the water feature in the hallway of the school to give a little ambiance to the school. He go, I give you Passaic, River Falls. And he turns it on, the waterfall's working and the train's going and everything. It was a movie that I soaked up every bit of that movie. That movie and a movie called Higher Learning were two movies in my college days that I really, really soaked up. Both based on African-American characters that were the protagonist. If you've never seen Higher Learning, John Singleton's Higher Learning, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is one of the best movies ever made. And the guy that plays Rip in Yellowstone, if you're a fan of the show Yellowstone, the guy that plays Rip in Yellowstone was the antagonist in Higher Learning. Really, really good movie. One of the antagonists in Higher Learning. Really, really good movie. Higher Learning. I implore you, if you have not seen that movie, go out and see it. It's a great movie. Go Netflix it, wherever you need to do it. There's one scene where you're having a skinhead white supremacist and an African-American track star, and they're fighting in the stairwell of this university they're both attending. And just the symbolism of this fight between the African-American race and the Caucasian race, and the symbolism of it as they're fighting underneath portraits hanging in that stairwell of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. It's just a very powerful movie. It's called Higher Learning. Higher Learning and Lean on Me were two movies in my late teens and early 20s that really, really struck me as movies that were important. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up talking about some of the top stories in 2020. We'll talk about that today and continue with it tomorrow. The last day of 2020 is tomorrow. You're listening to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hey, I didn't know it rained last night.
Oh, it didn't. Why do you say that?
Because little Johnny's in the backyard playing in that big mud puddle.
Did you leave the hose on?
No, the neighbor borrowed it yesterday.
Wait, is that the side where the septic...
Johnny, get out of there!
Having septic problems? At Mike Scott Plumbing, we can make those septic worries disappear. We can pump your septic tank, repair your drain field, and, if needed, even install a whole new system. At Mike Scott Plumbing, we don't take crap from